is good with you? It's your boy coming back to
Coming
another one.
We got one and
good with you? It's your boy Travis Kinley coming back to you with another one. I am chilling at Tamarack, I don't know, 64 eastbound, going toward Virginia, going toward 77, which would take me toward North Carolina rather. Whatever, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. I'm just hanging out and I want to tell you about something I learned recently that contradicts something I've said in the past month on my YouTube channel. First, I want to tell you kind of my first experiment with it. My first experiment with it was Arkansas to Springfield, Missouri. Rogers, Arkansas to Springfield, Missouri. Not 49, not Interstate 49, instead Arkansas, like 71, 29, and whatever the back state highways are back there. And 9.8 MPGs. At one time I hit 9.9 and then it went back to 9.8. How did you do it? How did you do it and why does it work? Okay, it's not about what you believe, it's why you believe it. So what is it and then why is it? Is the question. What is it is the first question. You likely have a boost gauge or you have an LCD screen that will show you the pounds of boost that you're pushing into your motor. What is it is, instead of watching your RPMs and your speed, watch your boost gauge. So I recently started watching a guy on YouTube called Make Sense, okay? Make Sense, except sense, he spells it with a C, C-E-N-T-S. Make Sense told me, you know, he bought a W900, right? Hood truck, in case you're not familiar. And hood trucks tend to be a lot more, you know, terrible on fuel mileage. So he's trying to figure out, like, what can I do to get better fuel mileage? And he tried keeping his boost under 20 pounds. And he said once he started keeping his boost under 20 pounds, major differences. So after he said that, I thought about it to ask myself, well, why would that be true? And sure enough, it made sense. So I did it 9.8 to 9.9 MPGs. Now, you don't really have to watch it like all day, every day while you're driving, but you know, once you do it for the first few minutes, you kind of know the sound of 20 pounds of boost being pushed into your motor. So once you know the sound of 20 pounds of boost being pushed into your motor, then you can just kind of, you know, keep it back. Why does this work? Okay, I'm gonna try to explain this in layman's terms. So if you're already familiar with, you know, forced induction, you know, you can disregard this for a second. Go get a bag of Cheetos or something, all right? A series of explosions happen inside of your motor, okay? Like small bombs that go off. I hope YouTube understand I'm talking about motors. Don't dock me for this, okay? A series of explosions go off inside of your motor, inside of the cylinders, right? For that explosion to take place, certain elements must be present. One of those elements is air. Another one of those elements is fuel, okay? And then you can imagine air, fuel plus spark plug plus spark from the spark plug. So air, fuel plus spark, boom, you know, creates energy. That energy transfers all the way to your tires, and then it happens over and over and over and over and over, okay? So what a turbo or turbos or supercharger does inside of your motor is it forces compressed air inside of your motor, okay? So just think of a ratio in a sense, you know, a pie chart with three, you know, portions. One is spark, that stays the same. The other is air and fuel. Think of it like that. But think about forced compressed air inside of your motor and it just being pushed in there. What cute dogs they have. Think about forced compressed air inside of your motor and it being pushed in there. The computer inside of our vehicles, so even if you drive a car, your tune is designed to understand that at certain pounds of boost, you need more fuel, okay? Just want to see what was up here. At certain pounds of boost, you need more fuel. So if you keep, because otherwise, you know, you'll be running extremely lean is what it's called. Not enough fuel for the amount of air that you have. And if you have more fuel, too much fuel, then, and it's not being burnt, that's called running rich, right? So that's why this makes sense. If you keep your boost under 20, you are telling your computer that we do not require as much fuel right now, right? So it makes sense. In his video, he explained like, dude, you know, sometimes you're gonna be going slow. Sometimes you be going up the hill, you be going dumb slow. But if you want to save fuel, that's what happens. Now, in this case, you do not necessarily have to go slow to exercise this fueling tip, this fuel saving tip. Instead, you just have to watch your boost. You accelerate slowly, you get, and once you get there, you're gone. Another thing makes sense said that contradicts something that I said, and I totally understand why, is stay off the cruise control. This totally makes sense. It lines up with this tip. Why do you stay off the cruise control? Okay. If you are on cruise I think this is true of Freightliners too, but if you're on cruise in my truck, pretty sure it's true of Freightliners. If you're on cruise in my truck, say you got the cruise on 63, right? Whenever you hit a hill, it's gonna slow down to about 61, 60 and a half or something like that. And then the motor's gonna cut on because the cruise recognizes that you have slowed down to under your desired speed, right? So once it cuts on, it just floors it until you get to the speed you've set on cruise control. That is why he said stay off the cruise control, because when it floors it, in my truck specifically, it goes up to 30 pounds of boost and it pushes that until you've hit your desired set speed. You see? So he was explaining stay out of the cruise control, use your pedal. The only reason you should be using cruise control is if you're on flat ground, running in the middle of the desert, no stoplights for miles, and you're just riding, and the truck's just, you know, just kind of rolling, right? Other than that, he said stay off the cruise, use your foot. Literally, you can accelerate from 60 to 63, keeping it under 20 pounds of boost, and you'll get there. It's not gonna take you an extra 15 seconds. It's not gonna take you an extra 5 seconds. It's just gonna take an extra few seconds. That's it. It's not that big of a deal, but it will save you money. Y'all, if you know anything about the back route that I went from Rogers to Springfield, it is hilly, okay? It is for real, and it's you're town hopping. Town to town to town, hill to hill to hill. I'm talking about some pretty serious hills. I ain't talking about no long rolling hills. I'm talking about some extremely short, you know, up, down, up, down, up, down. 9.8 mpgs with a pretty full box, 41K in the back, okay? I'm just saying, this one works, y'all, okay? Keeping the cruise on and cruising at 62, 63 miles an hour works too, don't get me wrong, okay? And it will get you a pretty decent net fuel. But I'm trying to tell you, if you practice this one here, where you keep the boost under 20, you will see a major difference. I haven't done it for a solid week yet because this week's been a little bit crazy for me, but you will see a major difference. So, fueling tip that I just learned, I wouldn't say of the week because I ain't finna drop one every week. Fueling tip of the week, keep your boost under 20, y'all. Not y'all, 9.8 mpgs. If you know where I was, you know how big this is. I assume, like, I figure if you don't really know the route that I traveled from Rogers to Springfield, and that 7129, I think it's like 2 or 3 numbers, I can't remember them all. If you don't really know the route that I took, this whole video probably, it just doesn't mean as much to you. But if you know the route I took, and if you know the fuel mileage Pete's usually get with 35,000 in the box, okay, all right, so that's the fueling tip. I just really wanted to share that with y'all because I knew after I saw it, I was like, well, I'm gonna try that out. And then once I saw the fuel mileage on my dash, and then once I saw it stay there all the way until I got to Springfield, till I got to the terminal, I was like, oh, I got to share this with the channel. All right, so checking out for the weekend, y'all. This is my Friday video. I am not, you know, I don't know if y'all noticed, I don't post on the weekends anymore. I do Monday through Friday, but next week, I have a surprise for you. So I'm guessing next week's gonna start normal, but I have a surprise for you. I'm really looking forward to it. Super looking forward to it. Nevertheless, I'm checking out, y'all. I'm getting back in the truck. I love y'all. Find you somebody to love. Don't forget, it's not about what you believe, it's why you believe it, and live free.